Can you hear me now? Hello, hello? Yes? No? Can you hear me? I had thought this was going to be such a smooth transition to live, and I already messed up, which sucks. But you can hear me now. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Sorry, guys. I got home from work and was rushing to get this all set up, so I'm sorry the sound wasn't lining up. But what I was saying was we're going to jump into all of this stuff. First of all, I want to share this Twin Flames Universe information form. The AG is asking for anyone who has any evidence to please go ahead and present it. There's also a link to email them directly. This is an ongoing investigation. Guys, this series came out almost 2 years ago at the end of 2023, and I cannot believe it's been so long, and I am so grateful for the survivors who have been consistently speaking out about this and being so active to try to bring justice to themselves, their friends, their family members, and the people who are unfortunately still involved in the cult. So while we're waiting for some people to jump on, this month I've been featuring, or I'm going to be featuring, a teacher in every video, and there are just so many that I was like, I don't know if I have enough videos to share these wish lists. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce you to this month's very first teacher. Let me just pull her up. All right, her name is Rebekkah. She says, thank you for sharing teacher wish lists. I'm an 8th grade reading teacher in an urban school district in Kansas. I've put books on my wish list so my students have a chance to read more books. I also have personal hygiene products to help our students with their needs. I'm passionate about my job and will start year 19 for the 25-26 school year. Wow, that's amazing. Great job, Rebekkah. 19 years. I hope you feature me in your video. I love watching you and have seen all your videos. Thank you so much. No, Rebekkah, thank you so much. Her Amazon wish list, just so you guys see, there's some transparency here. It's all school supplies, so I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the chat, and I will also put it, can I put it in the chat on here? Oh yeah, I can. And then I'm also going to put it in the description. So yay, welcome Victoria, welcome Lavender, Michelle, the Evil Weevil, I love that, Kristen Honeycutt, Michelle Sauter, you guys are awesome. Thanks everyone for being here. So I've been scouring the internet trying to figure out what is actually going on. And what's actually super exciting about this particular cult is I have kind of hinted in some videos because I knew there was something going on, but obviously it's a very sensitive subject, so people couldn't give me all of the details. So when we covered their love summit last summer, I kind of had the suspicion that this group was actually going to be getting investigated for something besides coercive control, because coercive control is still so difficult to prove and it's still so taboo to talk about, and a lot of people don't understand the lengths at which cult leaders do actually coercively control people. And my favorite Sarah Edmondson quote from the NXIVM cult, she was like the whistleblower of the cult. She always says there's no consent if there's fear in the room. And so when I knew that this cult was starting to be investigated, I was like, they are gonna get taken down for something like tax evasion because they've created a business with a church attached to it. So they can get away with not paying taxes because it would then be a nonprofit. So that was one of my predictions. Forced labor was another one of my predictions because they have a history. Everything here is alleged, guys, just to protect myself legally. But I had the suspicion there was forced labor, which happens a lot in cults. It is so difficult to take down a cult simply for misleading people and coercively controlling them. But many articles and the AG office and police reps are saying there is an element of coercive control to this case. And the more cases that happen that are based around, more cults we can, and cult leaders we can hold accountable, and it sets more of a precedent. So if this case does have a strong foundation regarding coercive control, it could set the tone for future dangerous groups and people, and I am so excited. So here is what you see when you first see Twin Flames Universe, right? Their website. So happy. This is a couple that they allegedly coerced into getting married. They also conduct online weddings with the pairings that they essentially force you into. If you aren't sure exactly what Twin Flames Universe is, I've made like so many videos on my channel about it. There's been some incredible coverage, and recently there was this really incredible investigation that was done a couple months ago, and I kept meaning to go live and live react to it, but it's an hour and a half, so I just wanted to share a couple quick tidbits because Keely, who was in the Netflix docu-series and has been one of the front runners to try to bring this cult down, she is featured here. So I just wanted to share what she has to say. Please let me know if you can't hear the video. I'm going to play it and y'all talk to me.
18 members of the Twin Flames universe have transitioned. When you look at the numbers, do you find that at all unusual?
I don't feel like it's so many, though.
We don't know how many were questioning their gender before joining the group, and they insist they weren't pressured. It was their choice to transition. Brienne and Adam are both certified Master Ascension coaches, a level above regular coaches, certified by Jeff.
They don't. Can you guys hear this? There's an echo. Okay, let me... I'm new to this platform I'm using to go live, so maybe if I
don't have any expertise. They're not therapists.
Keely Griffin, who left TFU in 2021, says she and other coaches were wholly untrained to handle people's trauma.
These clients are coming in with all sorts of issues, like being molested as children, and then they're told by the coaches to just do the mirror exercise.
Which means you take responsibility for your own abuse.
Exactly, like that's your fault now, which is like just so traumatizing in itself. I was in these sessions listening to people telling me, I'm suicidal, I don't want to be here anymore.
What kind of training do you have to take people into their trauma?
Coaches are consistently having evaluations and things of that nature to make sure that they're just checks and balances.
And who's doing the checks and balances?
Who does the checks and balances?
Well, those are the most experienced coaches, basically.
You guys are the most experienced.
Yeah.
What is the checks and balances?
Well, you got to make sure they're, following, you like to be a coach. Like you can't just go off on your own. Like we're not responsible for people's health, and that's for their doctor to take care of, right?
Okay, so I thought you guys knew everything, though. It's so shocking to me that they're their
Critics
own
say
checks and
students are
balances.
subjected to potential emotional harm, and that the coach.
So that's just a little bit about. Well, if you've seen some of my other lives, we actually reacted to a situation where Jeff and Shalia decided that they were going to hold this panel to claim that they're not a cult, and these two individuals were actually featured in that video. So they're using a very common cult tactic where Jeff and Shalia kind of like take a step away from the limelight, and then they have what's called their flying monkeys, who they send out to coach people or be in front of the camera, do their PR work for them to try to prove that, oh, well, we're not a cult. So I want to share with you, we're going to jump towards the end of this video a little bit and find when Jeff and Shalia, well, actually first, because there are two individuals I do want to remind you all of, who were featured in that same We Are Not a Cult 2-part series, and because they are also being held accountable. So what you have in Twin Flames Universe is you have the Ascension Coaches, which is part of Twin Flames Universe, and then you also have the Mind Alignment Program, which is where they promise to help you get rid of your PTSD in one session. Yeah. Reminder, they're not licensed psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors. They're unlicensed, but they're telling people that they can completely wipe out all of your trauma so it won't exist anymore. But so that's just an added layer to the salaciousness of them promising people their twin flames and encouraging people to get gender reassignment surgery and pairing up couples and marrying up those paired couples online. And also that is separate from the Church of Union, which is their church that is attached to Twin Flames Universe that I have been alleging for the last year and a half is how they are getting away with being considered a nonprofit. So there are multiple entities under this one umbrella that are all doing harm to a lot of people. Again, if you have any evidence to share with the Attorney General in Michigan, please click that link in the description of this video and you can share it. So let's jump back to this particular part.
Pay less taxes, they thought.
I feel I'm winning just as much as anyone else.
Brianne and Adam both feel that their community has been unfairly portrayed in the media.
We're not victims. Like, we have choice and free will. And I mean, I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy. Yeah.
And you are too?
I am.
Do you have the life that you desire?
I do. I feel like I'm more myself now than ever, basically.
Coming up.
We don't harm people.
You don't know the truth, you're being lied to.
My hate squad, the useless little group of haters who want to pin me as a psychopath.
Former high-ranking follower Keely Griffin is in Jeff's so-called hate squad.
They're criminals. Like, these people are con artists.
Keely believes she has evidence of a crime, and it involves the online church Jeff and Shalia set up. Her computer is filled with files from 2 hard drives, hundreds of hours of recorded meetings and documents. In this video, Jeff clearly outlines his reasons for setting up the Church of Union.
You're basically taxed at a share level, and then you're taxed again at an income level. So
sounds like death to me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
I've got the solution.
Yes, what's that?
We're going to turn part of our company into a religion.
Oh, good.
Just like that, the religion is born.
So a very small company, licensed stuff to the religion who will pay us all of the money that is earned through it. This way, our shit is completely protected forever and ever. Nothing can ever hurt us. We pay no taxes on that part of the company. And in this way, like, I don't have to pay people. I can just have volunteers. And and no one sues a religion. And also it opens us up to receive donations.
Mm.
Yeah, this is much more marketable for us too.
This is more marketable, I think.
They started out by saying we're not a religion and we don't even like religion. And then somewhere along the lines, when they realized that they could pay less taxes, they thought it would be a good idea for them to become a church.
Twin Flames Universe is a for-profit company. So too is their mind alignment process, Divine Dish, and Divine Gaming. The Church of Union was set up as a nonprofit in 2020. There is no actual church, just a website where sermons are posted on Sundays. Chrissy and Jason Emmerich are the directors of the Church of Union. In fact, Chrissy is in charge of church finances.
There is videotape of Jeff categorically saying the Church of Union is going to be set up so we can avoid paying taxes, right?
It's not true. Like that is not accurate information. Like
these are his words.
Right, but that's not what's happening.
Would you be comfortable opening up your books on the Church of Union to show full transparency and what's coming in and what's going out?
Ultimately, that's not like my decision to make.
Jeff and Shalia refused that request, and so we dug up the publicly available tax filings. Over a 4-year period, the Church of Union claimed more than $500,000 in expenses. They don't even have a physical church. This is mostly just YouTube sermons. $39,000 in legal fees, some to pay for defamation lawsuits. $45,000 for PR support, almost $100,000 on IT expenses, and $260,000 for independent contractors and something called contractor programming. Jeff and Shalia refused our requests for more details on just where that $250,000 went. We did discover this credit listing the church as an investor in one of their for-profit companies called Divine Gaming.
You're the financial officer for the Church of Union.
Yes.
So if there were ever to be discovered fraud, you would be the one that would be kind of holding the bag for that.
Yes, I think I would be involved in the finances, and we've talked to specialists and experts to make sure that we're doing everything properly, and we will continue to do that.
We know the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, has gathered information on the Church of Union. They tell us federal privacy laws prohibit them from confirming or denying ongoing investigations. Regardless, the Church of Union has conducted some traditional church-like activities. There was a wedding in Sedona.
You may now seal these vows with true love's kiss.
And another in Traverse City in 2024.
You may now seal these vows with a kiss.
Most weddings, though, are conducted online.
And we are pleased to present the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Hendel.
At least 3 of these followers changed their genders and moved to other countries to live with their so-called twin flame. Those who contemplate getting married or even engaged without the Church of Union face the wrath of Jeff and Shalia.
Don't you dare get married without the church. If you're here absorbing my teaching, don't you dare. Or f*** off. And actually, when you f*** off, that's it. Gone by. You have expended your opportunity. We're very flexible with allowing freedom. But where freedom is abused, it will be taken from you.
And this is not in any way unreasonable, what Jeff and I are saying and what we're asking.
It's excruciatingly generous, as always.
It's generous.
I know what the f*** I'm talking about. And if you don't think that, f*** off.
Bye.
Coming up,
I have so much love for Jesus. And it was so
I'm so sorry. He's so phony. Yeah, exactly. Divine Gaming, that was actually a new one for me too. I was like, Divine Gaming? What are we talking about here? Yeah, you're free unless you don't follow our rules. You're free, but you better not take advantage of that free. I'm so sorry. What? What? And yeah, Kristen, it's not the CFO's decision. I thought you were the director of the church. Yeah, so we're starting to see a little bit of the manipulation, and it's so fascinating how we can present a cult follower or someone in the inner circle, and that we will present them with a video like, look at how Jeff said this. Here's the entire conversation start to finish. And they'll be like, he didn't say that. It was taken out of context. God. Okay, let's watch Jesus cry over Jesus himself. Because we all remember how Jeff claimed he was Jesus. See if I can find right where they have the actual interview. Ooh, let's get juicy. All right. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Here we friggin' go.
Single one. And say they are the victims of cancel culture.
There are people who paint you both as puppet masters, as cult leaders, who have a level of control over people who are very vulnerable.
We are not puppet masters. We are not over-exercising our control to get people to do things that we want them to do. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to share our side of the story, to tell people, like, you may not believe me.
He stops looking at me and makes a direct appeal to camera.
Please hear what we have to say. Please listen to our students. They are not brainwashed. This is not a cult. This is a textbook example of cancel culture.
Explain that for me.
Well, you know, I think she's probably the better person to explain that. She's the one doing all the studying of it all.
Well, there was a reaction towards us, and it got shared all around the internet, and it got picked up, and then it just kept snowballing and snowballing.
You have described yourself as the Master Christ.
It's a spiritual exploration. And, you know, this cancel culture takes everything super out of context to make it look like I'm some megalomaniac who's using these strange titles to claim power, or they say that I think I'm Jesus, and that's just so silly.
But you have said you think you're Jesus.
Where do you have me quoted saying, I think I'm Jesus? That's absurd. I've never said that.
Holy, holy, holy. I figured y'all...
But he has said this.
And I'm not hiding anything. Like, I'm literally telling you I'm Christ.
Because God's been telling us, you know, we're the second coming of the Christ.
I'm banging the Christ. With all the pictures we see depicted of Jesus, he kind of looks that way, and so like, haha, you know, I'm with Jesus. He's not Jesus. I don't believe that at all.
None of my students think I'm Jesus.
Have you told people to change genders?
We encourage people to explore. And I hesitate to answer that question in the way that I'm feeling led to answer that question, which is yes or no. But the reality is...
It kind of is a yes or no, Jeff. Like, it kind of is.
There's context here. The answer to your question is we encourage people to explore their spiritual, their inner world. And it's just an invitation to explore.
Except in the concerns about Twin Flames universe, the biggest, most harmful allegation is that you are dictating people's gender and that they are taking it to extreme lengths, including having surgeries and hormone therapies and changing their gender.
Wow.
And so I think it's a fair question.
Of course.
That's a yes or a no, and there's not really a ton of nuance in it.
Great.
So is it a yes or a no?
We've invited people to explore their gender.
And that invitation to explore gender comes from God?
No, it comes from a human talking to a human.
No, but do you get the message from God that someone is in the wrong gender?
If you could give me a moment to collect myself. Thank you. God is a loving being. God wants the best for us. I am not God. I have never claimed to be God.
So my question was, do you get a message from God about somebody's gender?
It doesn't work that way, no.
There's no channeling from God about what someone's gender should be?
So we as professionals get intuitive hits, you might say. Hey, this might be a good idea. It's explorative, like this heavy frame is just not the reality.
But Jeff, it's a heavy consequence to have kind of a whim that someone might be a different gender.
It's not a whim. I get how this all looks, but it's just not true.
Jeff was saying, like, we could see on the spiritual horizon, and because Jeff and I, like, we live in twin flame union, it's like we see color where someone is colorblind. Like, we can see that.
And first, I hardly believe that the LGBTQ+ community would agree that changing your gender is an entirely harmful thing.
It's absolutely not a harmful thing unless someone else is telling you that you are the wrong gender.
Sure.
And then it's a very harmful thing.
This is not, once again, it's not something that's imposed upon you. You can't impose things upon people on their...
We were their, like, direct guide. They can choose not to do it or not to, you know, like.
If you have an element of control over them or sway over them.
Okay.
And they hear you say that and they know that it will please you.
We don't encourage that kind of power dynamic.
Yeah.
You don't?
No.
No.
Really?
You're my student. You do not school me. You should shut the up and listen.
Your choice has been out of order, so you can make a new choice.
We're very flexible with allowing freedom. But where freedom is abused, it will be taken from you. You probably have seen me yelling at my students. It's not abuse. In fact, people felt really loved and cared for when I would yell at them in classes. They felt like someone cares about me enough to yell at me, because it's uncomfortable to yell at people. I don't want to do that.
Guys, I'm like, I don't want to like react too quickly because I want you to see everything in context. This was so well done. But I don't know about you. I've never enjoyed getting yelled at. Some people like it in like a sexy way, like no judgment there, but like, do you see how they're reframing it? And do you see how when Jeff gets frustrated, he like really has to take an extra step to come up with more bullshit to say? And then he tries to make himself look like I am emotionally self-regulating, when in reality, he's probably trying to show the people who are still following him in this interview, I'm taking a moment, I'm receiving a download. How do I best answer this question to make sure I'm able to continue manipulating my followers? God, I'm dying. Sorry, I was laughing. That was wild. That was wild. I want to check in with y'all and see some of your reactions. All this cult does is justify stalking and harassment. Yep. Hi, I'm so excited to watch this live. This cult is ridiculous. Love your hair. Thank you. Yeah, this is textbook DARVO. Thank you so much for saying that. Aria's tired. Aria's tired. Girl, me too. I love that. It's textbook DARVO. Now, if you don't know what DARVO is, there's always like really good visuals online. I just want to pop it up because it's sometimes easier to digest if you see it. So, basically, it's a tactic that manipulators and abusers use. They first deny your allegation. They will attack whoever's, saying the allegation. Then they'll reverse victim. So they'll make themselves a victim, which Jeff and Shalia are both doing, where they're like, this is just cancel culture. This is a hate campaign against us. And then there's the offender tactic as well. So thank you so much, Ari is Tired, for bringing that up, because that is a classic tactic that they are using. And I swear every cult leader across the board, every manipulator, every abuser will always do it. It's the classic, like, you may have had it in more of a, I don't want to say a microaggression, because I don't think it's so much that, because I think that the person is aware that they're using something to kind of flip the script. But like, if someone ever has hurt your feelings, and then instead of saying like, hey, I'm really sorry that I did that to you, instead their reaction is something along the lines of, well, I only did that because you did X, Y, and Z first. That is the denial and attack. Like, they're using this as a tactic to flip it around on you. It's much like gaslighting, but they're taking out that element of making you feel a little bit crazy. They're probably going to jump to gaslighting after starting off with DARVO, to be honest. So thank you. That was a really, really great observation. Let me see. Is this where we are? All right. I kind of just want to watch the rest of the interview with you guys and stopping and starting, because it's like so good. And then we'll jump into kind of what's going on with the raids and everything, because I want to share with y'all, but the district attorney is being quite vague. But we know now that there is probably some allegation of forced labor, some kind of financial fraud, whether it's tied to the IRS or having people pay for products and giving them guarantees of finding their twin flame, and there never being tangible results unless it's forced upon somebody. And of course, that level of coercive control. But I want to share this with you just to give y'all some context to the sheer and utter denial that these people are doing.
If I don't have to, but I love these people. And so I put myself on the line in order to be able to help people.
But the people who are on the receiving end of that, who are no longer part of the community, felt bullied and manipulated and exploited by you.
Of course. Is it okay if I grab some water?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Do you know where my Fiji went?
No. You may need to get a new one.
Okay, that's fine.
So, Jeff, you talk about yelling at people lets them know that you actually are showing them love.
No, but kind of.
In this topsy-turvy universe, love is expressed in anger, and hate is a consequence of love.
Why are you the lightning rod for so much hate?
I think because we love people.
It doesn't make sense, Jeff. The equation doesn't add up. People who love don't usually receive hate. I just don't.
That's not true. That's not true. Look at history.
Okay, tell me.
Well, I'm not the.
Well, you look at, for instance, like a lot of like historical figures, like Martin Luther King. I don't know, like I grew up Catholic, so I think of Jesus, like he was just loving everybody, even though it was difficult.
When you love people deeply, it touches parts of their hearts and themselves that are hurt. And so that can cause that hurt to come out.
I think it's called love bombing. That's what I think it's called, Jeff. And I'm so sorry. Fiji water is the most pretentious water this mother could drink. He didn't say I need water. He said I need my Fiji. I'm pretty sure this interview happened in their house. Their multi-million-dollar, multi-floor, multi-room house where they allegedly invite people to come be their personal assistant, their personal maid, their personal chef, their cook, and then don't pay them. But then they get to get free coaching. But on the flip side, the coaches actually have to pay to coach. It's very much like a MLM type of pyramid structure, the payout, where you pay to train to be a coach. And then once you start coaching, you have to give like half your income back to Jeff and Shalele. So, like, it's so funny when people are trying so desperately to be transparent, but they're obtuse. Like, they are just not getting the full picture. This stuff just grinds my gears, but it's so good. It's so good. It's just so good. Okay, let's jump.
Jeff and Shalia deny they set up the church to evade taxes and deny they are exploiting followers financially.
What are the different businesses that are in the Twin Flames universe umbrella?
I mean, we're here to talk about Twin Flames.
But that's part of it, right?
What are you here to talk about? Like, you know, I'm not trying to be evasive here, but like, you're starting to get into a whole lot more subject.
Did you guys set up the church specifically to avoid taxes?
No.
We're the church's largest donor. It's designed to support the spiritual community and the spiritual teaching.
Yeah.
So there was no videotape discussion about how to avoid paying taxes and setting up a church?
In business, it's very normal to minimize your tax burden. Why would you pay more taxes than you are supposed to? We've always ensured we pay our fair share of taxes. You can't avoid the tax person. There's no way around that.
There are PR fees in your church filings.
Okay.
Well, how does that get explained?
I mean, our whole community came together to pay that. Like we're all paying to support.
Is impacted by what happened. It didn't just happen to Jeff and I. It happened to everyone that's in our community.
But why would that come out of the church?
It comes out of the whole community of which we are a part and of which we contribute to the largest amount.
What are you guys doing to make money? Like, you're making money off the coaches because they're giving you 50% of their salary.
What you're saying is, what do we do to make money?
Exactly.
You're asking me, really, what do I do to provide value for my community?
No, what do you do to make money?
Well, I provide value for my community.
But just in terms of bringing money in to support your lifestyle, where does that money come from?
Well, the money is...
Restaurant store.
30 chairs, non-squeak.
Restaurant store.
15 non-wobbly tables.
Restaurant store.
Add 8 cases of...
Okay, so it's fine, it's fair. Might not look like I have a particular, job like, making the food. Actually, one of my jobs is making the food. And I do design the menus for Divine Dish. It's a creative level things. It's entrepreneurial endeavor. If there's some sort of perception that we don't do anything, we're just profiting all, it's absolutely upside down. We work incredibly hard. And,
Twice in the interview, Jeff, out of the blue, starts crying over his love for Jesus.
We all share in that. I grew up Catholic, and I left the religion in the church because of their stance on gay marriage. I felt that if two people loved each other, they should, I'm very passionate about this. They should be allowed to get married. And it was so painful to leave my church. I have so much love for Jesus. And it was so hard for me to leave that all behind and follow my truth. But it was the right thing to do.
Jeff and Shalia say their logic and intuition have led them to believe their toddler Grace will only have one lover, God.
We believe she's more like a monastic soul. Someone whose life path is dedicated to God as their love or lover alone. But I'm still going to teach her about you know, sex and sexuality.
This is just an idea that we have come to, and we're seeing where it goes.
They have abandoned altogether another idea, that concept of golden children, which former followers believe is an attempt to breed a larger community.
It was a passing idea, just a thought, just playing around with an idea, you know. Like,
It's kind of strange, kind of weird.
yeah.
Seemed maybe cool.
Seemed like a cool idea.
Explored
like,
it for a short
yeah.
time and let it go.
And then it wasn't like a big deal or anything.
Do you think that it's possible that you will one day see inviting people to explore the divine masculinity as a silly idea that you should move away from?
Yeah.
Part of your...
Yeah, any of it. There's no sacred cows here. Like even the twin flame concept, like it's okay if it's misproven.
Followers have moved countries, married strangers, changed genders, based on teachings that no longer seem set in stone.
You guys are on a journey that people are following very closely because they believe in you.
Yeah.
And you're experimenting with things that...
They know that we're experimenting.
They
and
know we're experimenting. Trust me, people have a mind of their own in our spiritual community, and
Very much so.
They don't always listen to us, and like, that's okay. I don't really care. It's your life.
Is this all going to come crashing down?
No.
No, I think if anything, we're only going to continue to thrive.
Why are you getting all misty-eyed?
I'm thinking about Jesus. You know, my love for Jesus. Yeah, so just thinking about that. That's all.
How is your relationship?
It's really good.
God, so good.
Yeah, we're very happy. We're very in love. We'll start to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very it's very sacred to us. It's like our altar. And yeah, I love Jeff with my whole heart, and I'll be with him forever. I've never been so happy in my entire life. I'm such a better person, and I love myself so much, and he's taught me that.
But the business doesn't continue without that love for each other, right? It's all built on your twin flame union.
Yeah, our whole life is. And that's built on our relationship with God.
Yeah.
So I would rather not be in a world without God. If God isn't real, then take me away. I don't want any part of that. I believe God is real, and I built everything on him.
Coming up,
Okay, lots we could unpack there. I was just trying to remind myself of this woman's name. She did such a great job interviewing Avery Haynes. Avery Haynes, fantastic. She handled herself incredibly well. Sorry for laughing. I just love that every time Jeff can't answer a question, he starts crying about how much he loves Jesus. And I also love that they seem to be completely delusional about the investigations that they had to have known were going on. And what always, the big question mark I always have when I hear cult leaders talk like this is, you hired a PR firm to manage your image, and I feel like most reasonable people would have probably said, hey, we were a little bit misguided. We really believe in twin flames, and perhaps we went about it the wrong way by trying to encourage people to change their genders. Or maybe they could have said, we understand how the way that we were communicating and articulating our beliefs around the divine masculine versus the divine feminine, we understand why people might have misunderstood that or been alarmed by that, and now we're changing how we do things. Or yes, we felt like we were under a pressure cooker and we recognized that we had promised people twin flames. They weren't discovering who their twin flame was. So instead of encouraging them to keep going, we decided to assign them twin flames to try to cover our own asses because we wanted to keep making money. Like, why are you doubling down on the bad thing you did and continuing to do the bad thing you did? You probably would have financial success or more financial success if you just took a little accountability and stopped manipulating your followers. And like I said before, there is no consent if there is fear in the room. And there is also this power dynamic that Avery Haynes so brilliantly brought up. If people look up to Jeff and Shalia as this divine love that makes them cry for one another because they love Jesus so much, and Jesus brought them together, which they didn't always talk about Jesus. They only started bringing Jesus into the teachings when they realized they needed some way to funnel all of that tax money somewhere. So that's when they created a church, is my opinion. But it's just misguided. I was trying not to curse here, but it's just misguided and ironic that they think they're going to be thriving forever. So here is, let me see if this is the video. I have so many tabs open right now that I wanted to show you guys. Where is, okay, so yesterday, the Attorney General in Michigan, Dana Nessell, announced the ongoing investigation of Twin Flames Universe. So let's just take a quick look at what she had to say.
Hi, I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessell. Today, my office, along with local law enforcement, the Michigan State Police, and the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Inspector General, executed search warrants on 2 residences as part of our investigation into Twin Flames Universe. Twin Flames is a largely online organization with leaders based in Leelanau County, Michigan, that allegedly uses coercive control over its members, both in Michigan and across the United States. We believe that many of their actions may have been illegal, and we're asking for the general public's help in this investigation. Anyone with information about potential criminal conduct regarding Twin Flames Universe, its operators, Jeff and Shalia Devine, Christine and Jason Emmerich, its related organizations, including the Church of Union and the Mind Alignment Process, or their members, are encouraged to contact my office and may do so anonymously. A website has been set up with a tip form, mi.gov/agtfu, or you can email us directly at ag-tfuinfo@mi.gov. Thank you for your help.
The simple fact that we have the Labor Department involved does tell me that most likely that is going to be one of the several courses of action. Christine and Jason Emmerich was the other 2 couple, the second couple that we just watched interview, the ones that are the directors of the Church of Union. And they're the ones that are like, well, we don't make the financial decisions regarding the church. Well, you're sure as hell going to be held accountable for those decisions, aren't ya? Aren't ya? And we already saw that Jeff he lit up at the fact not just that he could avoid paying taxes or funnel that money through a nonprofit. We also recognized, or he recognized, that since it was a nonprofit, people could volunteer and then you wouldn't have to pay them. Which it's also really, like, it's so manipulative for him to cry about leaving the Catholic Church and cry about how hard that was for him, okay? And then you find out it's just a manipulation tactic, just so he can justify making more money. And then he's pandering to an LGBTQIA plus community because he has basically encouraged people to change their genders and live a more marginalized life where they might have to lose family members, friends, where they might lose a lot of their personal rights depending on the politics of where they live. They might face prosecution for living that lifestyle, and he's encouraging it, and then he's crying about how mean the Catholics were to gay people by not letting them get married, to make him look like this like straight white male savior. You're not, bro. You're not. You are a selfish narcissist, in my opinion. Okay? Whew. Man, tonight we're ranting. If this is your first video of mine, usually I'm a little more professional, but these two, all the people involved in this group just make me so mad. There was some more stuff I wanted to share. So what I'm really, really loving is the Attorney General discussing coercive control, because we just do not see enough of that when it comes to taking down cults. I'm guessing what they're searching for is documentation. They probably took computers and any, data drives, hard drives that saved, I'm sure, a lot of content creators, I think most content creators, because we have to remember that Jeff and Shalia started with a YouTube channel. I hate to be judgmental because it is hard to grow a YouTube following, but they still don't get that many views on their channel. So I think in order to make money, they had to come up with some kind of scheme, and their scheme was the Ascension program and the coaching program and all of that to get more money, basically. And so I think that these raids are going to be really focused on finding documentation of those earlier videos and of all those videos that have basically been wiped from the internet, because a lot of the videos that were wiped from public internet were actually then filtered into a lot of their programs, and then they would sell those really inflammatory videos as programs. And then I'm sure after the docuseries came out and there was so much uproar, they probably tried to get rid of all that, but I bet you they still save it on their computer on a hard drive, because a lot of content creators will save the raw files of all their footage in some kind of like external hard drive, just in case they need to like repurpose it, re-edit it, just to maintain it. So I'm sure they're going to be looking at computers. They're going to be looking at communications, like written communications between PR firms, tax people, lawyers, if they even have one. They're finding that evidence, I'm sure, for the tax evasion, potential fraud, and I would also guess the forced labor. The fact that a labor rep was in their home raiding it tells me that they are going at this from multiple angles. So I'm really, really excited to see what happens. We do have a statement from Twin Flames Universe that they posted this year. We take seriously recent allegations implying we wield inappropriate control over our community members. After a careful review of both media coverage and recent productions, we are saddened that so much effort has gone into taking swipes at an organization and community founded on love and mutual respect. You know what would have been so great is if they had just said, after own content that we've put out for years, and after a very careful review and asking people within our community for feedback on what we could do better, we have recognized the error in our ways and we are going to do our best to change it. They are digging themselves into the grave. And I don't know how I was just going on a rant. The fact that they are, I just like, I'm taking a hard left here, so just be aware. But the way they talk about their daughter is so disturbing. That little girl is what, not even 2 years old? What parent is already thinking about who their not even 2-year-old daughter is going to be with? or not. They're so obsessed with control that they can't even consider the fact that their daughter will grow up to be an adult one day with her own thoughts, make her own decisions, have her own opinions, and date and marry whomever she wants. They're like, no, she's not going to do that because we have intuited that her only love will be God. There were allegations about a year ago regarding some kind of commune where Jeff and Shalia were literally wanting to create heaven on earth and were inviting people to come potentially live at this commune. They were kind of like hinting at it. And part of it was to have children who would only be with each other so that they were in this little tiny, small, tight-knit community and everybody was each other's twin flames. Sounds just so incestuous to me. So disgusting. Like, it's disgusting. Okay, so here we have an interview. So this article says, Michigan Attorney General is going after the Twin Flames Universe, a spiritual organization based in Leelanau County that's widely considered to be a cult. Michigan Attorney General raided 2 homes, including one connected to Twin Flames Universe leaders Jeff and Shalia Devine, on July 1st with cooperation from the U.S. Department of Labor, Michigan State Police, and the Leelanau and Grand Traverse County Sheriff's offices. Traverse County is where they had their summit last year. Nessell said that the raid was conducted after a judge found probable cause that crimes have been committed by Twin Flames and their leadership, and that they are seeking tips from the public. So Jacob Wheeler publishes the Glen Arbor Sun and covered this story extensively. He spoke with IPR's Ed Ronco about the raid. So here are some of the allegations against Twin Flames Universe, according to Jacob Wheeler. Twin Flames Universe is alleged to be an online organization, kind of a relationship cult that preys on people looking for love. The Divines, who were the Ians, they changed their name to Divine, not because they want to be considered Christ-like or divine at all. And they are accused of charging their cult members thousands of dollars while pressing them into toxic relationships, manipulating their emotional and mental health struggles, and pressuring members of the online community to cut ties with their own families, appealing to some to get sex changes, and dissuading members who suffer from depression from seeking mental health treatment. Remember in the interview we just watched where Shalia said, "Oh, that's between them and their doctor?" Oh, okay, well, how about when you told people to stop going to their mental health professional because you guys have a MAP program and you can reprogram everybody's mind to only see positive things. You don't want people to trust their doctors because you want them to pay you while they continue to suffer. I think it's such a red flag when everyone in a religious organization is constantly crying. And this is coming from someone that cries all the time. I am a crier. I am a crier. I have a deep emotional well, okay? So no judgment if you cry, but I feel like, and the online cult I was a part of, when I went back to check up on them, they had all these testimonials, and every single person was so painfully emotional, it broke my heart. There's a difference, and I think you can tell in the energy of it when someone is crying from sheer gratitude and when someone is really crying from pain, and it just felt through the camera in their testimonial that they were really, really, really in a lot of pain. And this is a trigger warning for unaliving, but one Twins Flame member did end up taking her own life after she was encouraged to stop seeking treatment from a mental health professional. This is the insidious type of SHIT that makes me so angry. You have people's lives in your hand. Don't tell me that you don't exert too much control over someone and that they all have their own thought process and their own beliefs when people are making drastic life-changing or life-ending decisions based off of the stuff that you're telling them. You have a responsibility. Anyone with any type of platform, whether it's on social media, whether it's a a boss, a politician, anyone with any level of power or eyes has a responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of the people that they have gotten to trust and support them. And Jeff and Shalia are unable to acknowledge that and recognize that they are directly responsible when people do stuff like this. And it's disgusting to me and heartbreaking. Sorry, I know I got a little intense there, but like, I think if you've had your life impacted by a friend or a family member who has done something like this, which I have, it's utterly heartbreaking because you just want to help. You want to find a way to help the person. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional, so we're gonna move on. So the Attorney General didn't indicate the specific crimes her office is investigating, but as you highlighted, there are many accusations out there. What seems to be most likely to be in Dana Nessell's sights here? I'm gonna hope that I'm right. Let's see together. What was interesting was that in Nessell's press release yesterday, among the agents that showed up in Sutton's Bay to carry out a warrant were some from the U.S. Department of Labor Inspector General. One of the fears in the Twin Flames universe has long been that they're bringing people to northern Michigan and asking them to do work and not paying them. Another thought that it might be using their Church of Union as kind of a tax haven, as a shell corporation, and so there could be some tax things at play here. Early last year, in February of 2024, when Twin Flame survivor Keely Griffin, she was the curly-haired girl in the video we watched, came and spoke to the National Writer Series, I got to be guest host of that evening about Twin Flames and her experience and why she got out. At that event, there were a couple IRS agents who approached her after and gave her their business card. So just to say, the IRS is looking into this. Does that mean that Nessell has tax things in her sight? We don't know. Ronco goes on to ask, former members keep an eye on this group. Someone living in another state made you aware of the raid almost in real time yesterday. Why? Keely Griffin, who's been to Traverse City since escaping the Twin Flames universe and moving to the West Coast, she and others have really made it their goal to investigate this and bring down the Twin Flames universe, what they call a cult. Griffin, she's doing incredible work. She is like the Sarah Edmondson of Twin Flames universe. Griffin is in close contact with lots of people, including other survivors. She's also in contact with neighbors who live near Jeff and Shalia Devine, south of Sutton's Bay, and shortly after 11 a.m., when, as far as we know, when the raids occurred yesterday. But when the raid of their home near Sutton's Bay began, Griffin received a photo of a blue police squad car and other unmarked vehicles outside the house, and was told pretty soon thereafter, maybe around 11:15 a.m., that something was happening. The witness who was corresponding with her did tell her that they witnessed a police woman carrying out at least one box of information. So, yeah, there's some clarity there. Yeah, not indoctrination at all. I'm just trying to check in on your comments, guys. I know I'm getting like a little carried away. Sometimes when I don't know if it might be like an ADHD thing, but like sometimes when I get on a roll, my brain, I just have to like keep going. So I want to say hi to you guys. I'm sorry, Chalia Tole, is that how I say your name? I don't know if they had IVF, so they would specifically have a girl, but I do know that is like, if you want to have a girl, a lot of people have done that via IVF. Yep, these leaders can't own up. Oh, yay, Leno, you live in the state and you're thrilled they got raided. Me too. Lisa Eddy and Trio BLT say if they believe their own rhetoric about gender, why are they referring to their child with exclusive pronouns? That is a great question. They should be encouraging that child to explore. All right. Yeah, there's so much content. And we are hearing from other ex-members as well in this particular, I can't think of the word, article. And this is from Toronto, so this is going international. The criminal investigation comes months after a 2-hour W5 documentary exposed the group's inner workings, revealing disturbing allegations of control, coercion, and psychological pressure from former group members. So we hear once again from Keely Griffin, who was once the highest ranking insider in Twin Flames universe, described the raids as a breakthrough. She says huge progress towards justice for those who have been harmed by Jeff and Shalia in Twin Flames universe. I'm a bit overwhelmed with emotions. Canadian Angie Moggy, who told W5 she was pressured to change her gender identity while inside the group, praised fellow survivors who helped bring attention to the group's practices. I commend my fellow ex-members on speaking out, said Moggy. It finally feels like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I love that people are coming out on record. That seems to be what happens is, unfortunately, if someone is claiming any kind of abuse or any kind of coercion, it's very, very difficult to prove if the person doesn't publicly go on record, but oftentimes because they're really afraid of the consequences of telling, whether, they might, like Scientology, if you speak out against Scientology, you could be harassed, you could be spied on, they might hire a PI to just like make your life a living hell. So a lot of survivors of both DV situations and cult-like practices like this, they do not end up going public. They might anonymously share their experience. But I think now that there's so much, national and even now international uproar regarding this, more people are becoming comfortable speaking out. And so these are some names I've never heard before. Victoria Bonilla, another former member, said that the Attorney General's move is a signal to others still afraid to come forward. It's a reminder of how important it is to speak out and not let abusers or oppressors scare us into silence. Twin Flames Universe promises to help followers find their one true love, but that 2-hour documentary, We're Not a Cult, Inside Twin Flames Universe, revealed allegations of emotional manipulation, rigid control over relationships, and even claims that members have been coerced into changing genders. Yeah. Whew. So there is a lot of content. I actually wanted to, and I know we're going really long. Hi, Tiago. That's nice. I hope you enjoy your breakfast every morning. Yeah, okay, Ashka, yeah. I think coercive control should be used in court as well. There have been more and more cases where it's been kind of like that's what's really frustrating about taking cults down, right? Is it's so hard to prove coercive control. And everyone in America, anyways, is free to practice, I'm going to put quotes around the word free, whatever religion they really want to. So that adds this element of control, like personal autonomy when it comes to coercive control, because people are incapable, a lot of people are incapable of understanding how coercive control works. But now that there are more people becoming educated on it, it is getting into the legal system a lot better and a lot easier. But there's always, when someone's trying to take down a cult, and we're seeing this as an example right now, there's a different method in which to do it. You have to find some other law that they are actively breaking so that you can take the entire thing down. And in this case, it sounds like it's potentially tax fraud or tax evasion and illegal labor practices. And if they are literally bringing people from another state and plopping them into Michigan and having them work for them and pairing them up with someone, that sounds like trafficking to me. So I don't know if along the way there might be some kind of charge for that as well. That remains to be seen. So that's what's fortunate but unfortunate, but I have to commend the AG here for saying coercive control often, because that is really what's going on. Coercive control is real, and anyone is susceptible to it. Anyone is susceptible to it. I know I've been ranting and yapping for a while, so I don't want to bore you all. Here was something I wanted to show you in case you're not super familiar with the MAP program. According to Twin Flames Universe, the MAP healing program is proven to resolve trauma at the core. More than 90% of couples in harmonious twin flame union have gone through the MAP healing program. MAP empowers you to move forward peacefully in your life. It can be an integral tool on your twin flame journey. Okay. Once again, another flying monkey. There was a post I just wanted to share. Did I lose it? Maybe it was on my phone, unfortunately. I'm just trying to make sure. I swear there was something else. I think it could be beneficial to share this podcast, because it's another good example of the flying monkeys tactic, where, you know, the evil witch, aka Jeff and Shalia, send out their closest followers to go on podcasts, to go talk to the press, all of this stuff, yada yada yada, so that they have less heat on themselves. It's a classic tactic. And then we'll start wrapping up here, guys. I don't mean to keep you late, unless you're having a good time. I'm having a great time, obviously. I can't shut up, okay?
Love and romance, but it's about them getting closer to God and their divinity, and really learning to love themselves, because that's the purpose of the relationship with your twin flame, is that they're your perfect divine mirror, and they're going to mirror to you the relationship that you have with yourself. If everyone was with their twin flame, they'd be able to go deeper in that with themselves. And twin flames are here to bring heaven on earth, to create that. It would create, that's like the new earth, essentially, right? The new earth. And we're already living in it. Heaven on earth is not like somewhere else, like it's here and now. And, you know, the whole point is that you come together to create your own heaven on earth, and then share and expand that with the world. Not keep it to yourself, but share it with the world. The purpose of twin flames on this planet is to create heaven on earth.
I think it's very clear to see when they talk about things like this, where they have to keep people in the cult even after they're paired up, because their business model would just not work if, once people got married and lived happily ever after in their own heaven on earth, if they stopped buying into Twin Flames Universe, if they stopped spreading the message, if they weren't a perfect example of harmonious twin flame union, then they would not make the same amount of money. So when they do see a successful couple, they're like, wow, now we're going to put you on a pedestal. You're going to be the example for all the followers. You're going to help us drive more traffic and more curious people who are just wanting to find love to us, and then they're going to pay us more. Because if every single person that got coupled up just left the cult, they would not make money. And with cults like this, especially ones that have had so much bad press, it's going to become increasingly difficult for them to make more money. So what does this text say? What are twin flames really about, and what would a world where everyone is in there with their one true love, their twin flame, really look like? Together, they explore the real truth about twin flames, what they really are and what they're not, and talk about the hottest twin flame topics, questions of the day, the difference between twin flames, karmics, and soulmates, how to tell if it's just trauma bonding or a real twin flame connection, the purpose of a twin flame connection and why it triggers so much healing, and what it really takes to have the twin flame union and why it begins within. And I've talked about before how I believe that twin flames universe is, twin flames in general is just a spiritual construct. It's just an idea. Whether you believe in it or not, it's apparently different than soulmates. What makes this connection so dangerous and so toxic, in my opinion, is that it's supposed to mirror you and your own personal difficulties. So that leads people to believe their twin flame relationship might be very, very, very difficult. So when we start normalizing difficult relationships, things that are normally considered toxic and dangerous become things that people not only accept in their life, but start seeking it out. Almost like something with me and my husband, when we really knew that we were in love with each other, right? We always said it just felt so easy. Not that our relationship is constantly easy. There are definitely challenges when you're married or when you're in a long-term relationship, but the beginning there was no do you like me? Do I like you? There was none of that. So I think that what people really start to accept in the twin flame space is, oh, it's hard, it's difficult, they might be with somebody else and I have to keep harassing them. They might tell me they're not interested, but I'm gonna keep talking to them. I interviewed someone who went to jail for stalking charges because she was encouraged to not take no for an answer. This group has been so inherently dangerous, and it has broken all of the rules when it comes to a consenting, healthy, mutually beneficial, and honest relationship. And I think that some of these followers who are being propped up in the community and who are being forced to go onto these shows and do these YouTube videos where they talk about how great their relationship is and how great Jeff and Shalia are, that's where the brainwashing has been. You can tell it's been so ingrained in them because they shouldn't feel like it's constantly hard. They shouldn't dislike themselves into a relationship. They shouldn't be pursuing people who are in relationships. All of these things are inherently inappropriate, and when someone tells you they're not interested in you, you need to listen. You need to listen, and you need to back off. The teachings of this group have been so damaging to so many people, and they continue to be damaging. And I want to reiterate, it's not just damaging to the people within the group, it's damaging to their family members. I don't want to say her name because I wasn't able to connect with her today, but we've been in contact over the last year and a half, and she's a mother of someone who she's been estranged by her daughter, who was in, and I think still is heavily in, Twin Flames universe. And it's been utterly heartbreaking for her from a mother's perspective. And she emailed me right away this morning. I literally was at the gym at 7 a.m. and got this email from her. And I was like, oh, can I call you later? And then later I was like, can I call you at this time? And we just never got to connect before the live. But her and 6 other parents who have been estranged by people in this cult, whose children have changed their genders, have moved countries, have totally isolated themselves from their entire support network. These parents are heartbroken, and I'm hoping I can still get them on the channel for an interview. But I just can't. I think this is why I find cult and cult leaders so particularly fascinating, is because I can't imagine negatively impacting not just even one person, but like so many people on such a grand level where it trickles down into family lines and friendship lines, and it's destroying lives and ending some lives, and not taking a step back and thinking, maybe we as an organization need to change. Instead, they double down. They continue to scam the out of their followers. I mean, that summit last year, it was just a money grab. It was just a money grab. They didn't offer any real value. They wanted everyone to spend money and come buy Shalia's paintings that are just teal swan-esque, like things you would see in an adult coloring book. You know, those like mosaics or whatever. But it's so incredibly heartbreaking, and I'm going to start, concluding this video because I'm getting heated and I don't want to get too abrasive or whatever, but it's just hard to reconcile, I think, sometimes when people are so okay with harming other people because they're just so obsessed with their own bottom line. Something is, in my opinion, dangerously wrong with Jeff and Shalia. People who can lie like that, people who get caught lying, and unfortunately, all these little minions, these flying monkeys, are gonna also be held accountable. We're seeing in real time where the victim is becoming the perpetrator, because all of these followers, I don't know so much Christine because she kind of jumped right into a leadership role, but the other folks who were featured in the We're Not a Cult and the other, there was the panel where it was on Jeff and Shalia's Twin Flames Universe YouTube channel. All of those people, they're becoming perpetrators. They're hurting people. And they're justifying that hurt because they've been led to believe that if they find their union and promote finding union through Twin Flames Universe, and then everyone lives in a happy union, happy family, that will be heaven on earth. Because the mission has to be bigger than the individual. Meanwhile, Jeff and Shalia just think about them and their own individual lives and their own money, and then cry on camera because they love Jesus so much. If you loved Jesus so much... Oh, and I didn't even mention the fact that Shalia compared Jeff Divine to MLK Jr. Are you kidding me? No. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much. Do you think I should go live more? I always thought it would be really cool to talk about a cult and then find if they're still active, react to some of the content that they're putting out. I've kind of done it with Teal Swan, but I talked about her so long ago that I was like, are people gonna care? But if that's something you'd like, if you'd like a monthly or weekly even live where it's just reacting to some of the BS that these cult leaders say, please let me know in the comments, because this has been really fun. It would probably be around an hour and a half every time, because I just, once I get talking, I can't stop. That's why I have to like write scripts for myself, because otherwise my videos, I mean, they're all ready. My video this weekend is going to be like 1 hour and 40 minutes long. So a bitch can talk. So, yeah, you guys, this was so much fun. You really, really made my week, and let's just all collectively put our energy out there to thank all of the survivors who have been continuously talking about this group, this cult, and doing so much work. It is not easy. Like, the things Keely and everyone else is doing. I'm not mentioning certain names in case they don't want me to bring them up right now, but I see you, I hear you, and what you're doing is so brave, and it inspires other victims and survivors to come forward, because it is not easy. It's like one of your most traumatizing things happens to you, and you have to keep reliving it, reconvincing people. Like, it's got to be so exhausting. So I just want to say thank you to them for the hard work that they're doing, and we support you. And don't forget to contact the Michigan Attorney General if you have any tangible proof. And with all of that, y'all, if I can figure out this tech stuff, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you guys so, so much for all of your support. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic and safe rest of your week. Always ask questions, and remember to always stay skeptical. I will see you in my next video very soon. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.